Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another inspiring biography story, where we not only learn about the life of amazing people, but also practice English listening. I'm so excited to share with you the life story of one of the greatest leaders in history, Abraham Lincoln. Listening to these stories will help you improve your English skills, while also motivating you to never give up, no matter how tough life gets. Now sit back, relax, and let's begin the story of Abraham Lincoln, a man who started from nothing and became one of the most important leaders in the world. Well, let's know about Abraham Lincoln's personal life. Abraham Lincoln, childhood. The family moved several times and Lincoln had limited formal education. However, he was a voracious reader, teaching himself through books. He often worked on farms, splitting rails and doing manual labor. Death of mother. In 1818, when Lincoln was just 9 years old, his mother died of milk sickness, which profoundly affected him. His father remarried a woman named Sarah Bush Johnston, with whom Lincoln developed a close bond. Marriage and family. Marriage to Mary Todd. Lincoln married Mary Todd on November 4th, 1842, in Springfield, Illinois. Mary came from a wealthy Kentucky family and was known for her intelligence, strong opinions, and often volatile temperament. The couple had a complex relationship marked by both affection and tensions. Abraham owned children. They had 4 children. Robert Todd Lincoln, born in 1843, the only one of their children to survive into adulthood. Robert became a lawyer and eventually served as Secretary of War and U.S. Minister to the United Kingdom. Edward Baker Lincoln, born in 1846, died of medullary thyroid cancer in 1850 at the age of 4. William Wallace Willie Lincoln, born in 1850, died in 1862 at the age of 11, likely from typhoid fever. His death deeply affected both Abraham and Mary. Thomas Tad Lincoln, born in 1853, Tad had health problems throughout his life, including chronic respiratory issues. He died of pneumonia in 1871 at the age of 18. Character and personality. Honesty and integrity. Lincoln was known for his honesty, often referred to as Honest Abe. He was highly respected for his integrity, even during his early career as a lawyer and politician. Chapter 1. Abraham Lincoln. A legendary person born in the early days of the 19th century, in a small log cabin in the frontier of Kentucky, a boy was born who would come to embody the very spirit of American perseverance and vision. His name was Abraham Lincoln, born on February 12, 1809, to Thomas and Nancy Lincoln. Chapter 2. Early Life and Struggles. Abraham's early life was marked by hardship. His family moved several times from Kentucky to Indiana and then to Illinois. His mother, Nancy, died when Abraham was just 9 years old, a tragedy that would haunt him for much of his life. Abraham's formal education was limited to less than a year, but he was an insatiable learner. With his love of reading, he taught himself the basics of mathematics, law, and literature, which would form the foundation of his intellectual development. Chapter 3. Early career and entry into politics. By the age of 22, Lincoln had left his family behind and struck out on his own. After spending some time as a store clerk and surveyor, he eventually became a lawyer in Springfield, Illinois, where he developed a reputation for his honesty and sharp mind. In 1832, Lincoln made his first attempt at public office by running for the Illinois state legislature. Though he lost, his political career had begun. He would go on to serve in the state legislature and then in the U.S. House of Representatives. Chapter 4. The Road to the Presidency. The 1850s were a time of deep national division. The issue of slavery in the United States had reached a boiling point. Lincoln, a man of deep moral conviction, began to speak out against the expansion of slavery into new territories. In 1858, Lincoln faced off against the prominent Senator Stephen Douglas in a series of famous debates. Though Lincoln did not win the Senate seat, the debates brought him national attention for his principled stand against slavery, propelling him to the forefront of national politics. Chapter 5. The Presidency and the Civil War. In 1860, after years of political struggle, Lincoln was elected the 16th President of the United States. The nation, however, was on the brink of a civil war. His election triggered a series of secessions by Southern states, which formed the Confederate States of America. In his inaugural address, Lincoln spoke to the nation with wisdom and clarity, declaring, "We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies." Yet despite his appeals for peace, the Confederacy had already begun the rebellion and the Civil War ensued. Chapter 6: The War and Emancipation. The Civil War was a brutal and bloody conflict, with over 600,000 soldiers losing their lives. Lincoln, faced with an unprecedented national crisis, led with resolve. At the heart of his leadership was his belief in preserving the Union, but also in addressing the moral stain of slavery. On January 1, 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, a landmark executive order that declared all slaves in Confederate-held territory to be free. This bold move not only changed the course of the war, but also shifted the moral compass of the nation. The proclamation also allowed African Americans to join the Union Army, bolstering the North's forces and changing the very nature of the war. Lincoln, however, knew the struggle was far from over. The war would continue for 2 more years, with the fate of the nation hanging in the balance. Chapter 7: The War's End and Lincoln's Vision for the Future. In 1865, after 4 long years of conflict, the Union emerged victorious. General Robert E. Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, and the nation, though fractured, had been preserved. But the cost had been immense. At his second inauguration in 1865, Lincoln spoke with great compassion and wisdom, urging the nation to heal and rebuild. He famously said, "With malice toward none, with charity for all." His vision was one of reconciliation, not retribution. Chapter 8: The Assassination and Legacy. Tragically, just 5 days after the Confederate surrender, as the nation celebrated its victory and the end of the war, President Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, a Southern sympathizer, at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. The nation was thrown into mourning. Lincoln's death left a nation in shock, but his legacy would endure. He had preserved the Union, abolished slavery, and led the country through its darkest days. His vision of equality and freedom would echo through history, shaping the future of the United States. Depression. Lincoln struggled with bouts of depression, a condition he called his melancholy. Some historians believe his depression was exacerbated by the stress of his presidency, particularly during the Civil War. Final years: Civil War presidency. Lincoln's presidency was dominated by the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, a conflict that tore the nation apart over issues including slavery and states' rights. Lincoln's leadership during the war, including his Emancipation Proclamation, which declared slaves in Confederate-held territory free, is considered one of the most significant aspects of his legacy. Assassination. On April 14, 1865, just days after the Confederate surrender at Appomattox Courthouse, Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer, while attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Lincoln died the following day on April 15, 1865. Lincoln's personal life was characterized by hardship, family loss, and immense pressure. But he is remembered for his resilience, leadership, and commitment to justice. His legacy as a great American president continues to resonate today. Abraham Lincoln's life is a testament to the power of courage, conviction, and vision. From a humble log cabin to the highest office in the land, his journey was one of perseverance and profound moral clarity. Today, we remember him not only as a president, but as a symbol of hope, unity, and the relentless pursuit of liberty.